Couple of sports notes. NBA's in talks with Disney about finishing their season at the Disney complex. ESPN has this wide world of sports complex with all kinds of, basketball courts, soccer fields, baseball diamonds, and Major League Soccer and the NBA are both talking with Disney about doing their seasons there, which would be a pretty good place. I mean, they got 24,000 hotel rooms. Mm-hmm. They've got all the venues, and, you wouldn't have any people there except for the players, obviously, just doing the games. And it'd be a great place to kind of just be secluded away from everybody and finish things up.
It's the Pauly Shore Biodome approach to Major League Sports, where you're just going to basically keep people quarantined away from the rest of society.
Yeah.
And the reason, one of the big things is they're so worried about one person testing positive on one of these teams.
Because if that happens,
4 or 5 do, and then
do they shut it down again? Mm-hmm. What they've said is, if somebody gets it, and they will, somebody probably will.
Yeah,
I mean, it's likely, I guess, that someone will get it when everybody comes together. You just quarantine them and keep going. You don't have to shut down the season again, right? But will they do that?
I think you have, unless it's like a really big problem. I think you have to just keep going.
I think so too.
One person testing positive, I think you're right. You quarantine. What happens when 8 people on the same team do on an NBA team that has 12 to 15 people
then you got a problem
on an active roster? What happens if you're in the NBA Finals and LeBron James tests positive for COVID? What happens?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in LeBron's case, I would say he should be ejected from the league and never return. But let's say a player that I like, it happens to. But seriously, you put Giannis for the Bucks tests positive during the NBA Finals. What do you do? What do? You can't take away the NBA MVP off of a team in the middle of the finals, can you? But yes, they absolutely would have to.
They'd have
do you
to.
Delay it? Do you wait a couple weeks and wait for him to be asymptomatic, test negative, make sure everyone else
have to decide all those things in advance?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be that is going to be crazy.
They got to be thinking about all that, right? They have to be. What if LeBron gets COVID-19? Do you shut down the league or do you keep going? And I think you keep going. As long as it's just LeBron. If it's 15 people spread across different teams, then you probably have to stop.
Yeah. You probably, there's some level, right, where this just becomes
15,
insane.
20 guys get it, then you're worried about a pandemic sweeping through the NBA and killing NBA basketball players. You'd probably stop. So
and the way they're changing the seasons up, they're trying to be basically a half season for baseball, where they're starting an 82 game season. The hockey
25% pay.
Yeah.
So I don't know that ever happens because the players aren't pleased.
No,
they're not happy about it.
And I will say it's an interesting approach to fight about money in the middle of this. It's a tough thing to take. Your fans you get 38 million people out of work, and you're like, you know what?
I can't do it for $2.9 million. So I'm not doing it for that.
Half work at $2.9 million? No way.
I don't cross the street for $2.9 million. Nope.
But on the other hand, from the player's perspective, I signed a contract to play this sport.
Yeah. When you're making $40,000 a year, though, you don't understand the guy who won't play for $3 million a year.
It's tough. It's a tough one. You need to really be careful.
Like the pitcher who was talking about that, who was that?
Was that Snell, Blake Snell?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. Who makes $7.5 million, and I think he was talking about working for 2.5. And you were like, okay, you won't do that?
Yeah,
really?
He said it's not worth it for me to do.
It's not worth it.
Now, he's a guy who's going to
You'll make zero if you don't play at all, right?
But he's a guy who has a future where he's going to be making probably $20 million a year and doesn't want to risk going back and risk really more than, I don't know, like risking injury for $2.5 million for him is probably not sensible financially.
Yeah, maybe.
However, you have to take context into the equation here. You're in the middle of a pandemic where people have been locked in their homes. 38 million people are out of work. Mm-hmm. At some point, do you just say, look, I would have dreamed to play a half season in the major leagues for $2.9 million my entire life until probably a couple years ago.
Yes.
Maybe I suck it up here and just go for it.
They lose that perspective, though, I think.
But think about this, Pat. You go back to, you're a major league baseball player. You're thinking of yourself. You're not thinking about the average person. What's the best thing for your situation?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You think, well, I'll go back, and the first time I've got muscle soreness, I'm out. I can't pitch. I'm hurt. Like, there's going to be guys faking injuries. There's going to be guys who are, I have a minor surgery that I could get or play this season. Screw it. I'm getting the surgery and staying home. They're going to have to pay me anyway. And then I don't have this risk associated. Not everyone's going to do that, but it's going to happen. All this stuff is crazy.